see if this will fit. Okay, it fits. It's a little faster. Alright, Shalom to all the Hakim out there. And as always, going to start off. This isn't on, by the way, this is off. I just don't really have a place to put it right now, and I don't own any other type of headphones or whatever, so I just keep them on. Let's see if I can push them down a little. I just got a little headset here, so I don't really want to show that. I'm a little embarrassed. But let's say Kawaiwa, Howell, Lashim Yahshua, Lashim Halakakadash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, Reuben 1 to 12. And young brother here today. Here once again, teaching the scriptures as our forefathers and our leaders before us have ordained us to go ahead and go do. Alright, that's good. I think I look in decent working order. Let's see if I could. Yeah, I don't think the back of my garment really matters the other way, but it's more like my front is really I should be worried about, so I'll probably look a little silly from the back, but okay, I think I look alright. Alright, good. Just want to make sure I'm in some degree of order here, because when you come out here, you are representing the ministry of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and we're ambassadors of Christ, as the scriptures tell us, so you ought to look the part. You know, make sure you're washed, you look good, you look right. Don't be all like messed up and stuff. You know what I mean? That's thing, you gotta look like a supermodel, unless you want to, but you gotta come out here and look in order. Be neat. So, I have an article here today, which is pretty much gonna be the only thing I'm going to talk about. I have an article, and then I have some notes, and yep, let's see if I can go ahead and get this. Yep, we got some notes in here, about 15 or so scriptures that we're going to get into today. So we'll just kind of run them all through, precept upon precept. So, this is the first article I got. It's loading right now. But it's from naturalnews.com. Western economies headed for collapse if United States and Israel push escalation of war in the Middle East. So, author and Russian military expert Andrew Martyanov and Free Speech platform Brighteon founder Mike Adams agree that Western economies will be devastated if the United States and Israel keep pushing for the escalation of the conquest in Gaza, which is true according to the scriptures, and we're gonna get all that, in Gaza, simply because the economies would not be able to handle it. Which really, according to scriptures, it will be because of ICBM nuclear missiles is really going to be the thing that is going to spell the death nail, so to speak, or the death blow to the Western nations, and really all nations. They're all going to be taken down, But the destruction isn't going to be the same level as America, So the whole world isn't going to be like utterly destroyed. It's just America's going to be never inhabited. But, this is going to hit all over the place, but not the same destruction as America. You're still going to have jigs around. There's other countries still going to have heathen around. They're going to survive. They're going to get rounded up. You're also going to have jigs, that are out there. They got to get rounded up. You're going to have jigs in South America that aren't going to want to get right. They're going to get slain before Yahushua. So it's going to be a lot of stuff going down, right? According to Adams, the United States may have the biggest military budget in the world. However, 90% of the money goes to waste due to kickbacks, inefficiency, and incompetence. Thus, the West would spend much money to continue the invasion in the Middle East, right? There is an economic asymmetry in the cost of producing systems. I saw research on 155 artillery rounds that says the United States spends about $6,000 per round to produce. Wow. And those are all like defense contracts. They basically give contracts to, military arms producers like Boeing and these other guys out here. They basically pay, I think Raytheon is one of them. And they basically give them money and they go out there and they build stuff. Right? Those are not exotic rounds, just kind of standard normal explosive rounds to help range and divulge. Russia can produce the same round for about 1/10 of the cost. Iran can produce military weapons at a fraction of the cost in the United States. That's right, because they don't have as much debt, they don't deal with as much inflation as America deals with, right? Because America has a debt-based system, right? The American dollar lost its gold backing in an agreement, as we all know, right? The American dollar lost its gold backing within that agreement of the Bretton Woods agreement. So I'm gonna get this here, and I'm gonna try not to use the King James today. These are all precepts that I know off the top of my head, so when I get it the old-fashioned way. So this is Isaiah chapter 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt. Out of Egypt shall be his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Right? The heart of Egypt is talking about the mind and the spirit, right? And it's not talking about ancient Egypt. It's talking about America at that time with the chariots of Heaven, Heavenly Father. Now set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his neighbor, and everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. Right? And that's going to the civil wars that are going to go on here in America, which is the new Egypt. Right? And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst of it, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And you shall seek to the Lord, the charmers, to them, and familiar spirits. No, seek to the idols, not seek to the idols. The spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst of it, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. They shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right? And that's what America's doing right now. They combine. That's what makes them Neo-Babylon, Neo-Egypt, and all these other nations, is that they combine the witchcraft aspect with the monarchies. It's 100% true that all the presidents, they're all involved with Illuminati and all these things at some point or some level. And they're all just puppets to begin with. All the presidents are just puppets. They're all ran by West Exec and other consulting firms, which really run like things like the presidency and things like that, but in the shadows. It's all a big game. The president is just for show, if you will. Right? Let's see if we can go back. Why the hell did I do that? Just because I thought it was. Let's take this. Right? And we can skip on down because you read on, it talks basically about this time here the Egyptians like give over to a cruel Lord. That's talking about us. Because we live here in America, we're citizens of this place. Right? I'll start here. Isaiah 19:11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. Right? You look into the word brutish. Right? It's foolish. That's what brutish means. Right? So princes of Zoan, I was really talking about over here in America, as I said before. And that's because if you read down, you'll see it's talking about new Egypt, a different Egypt. Right? These princes, these leaders, these counselors are foreign diplomats, all the councils of the president. The ones that want you to know, the ones that are public and the ones that are not so public. Right? Foreign diplomats. And otherwise, They are foolish. They're making foolish decisions. During this whole conflict between Israel and Gaza and Hamas, you know, the United States hasn't visited Saudi Arabia once. You know, America isn't able to handle and make diplomatic moves like it used to. You know, back before, the United States would make multiple trips. You know, foreign diplomats, guys that handle foreign relations, would make multiple trips to the Middle East, talk to different kings and leaders. But now look at it between, you know, in this war, America's barely going out there, man. America is, they drew the line in the sand when, you know, guys like Lincoln, Biden, guys like that were going out there to Israel and basically saying, yeah, we're going to support you 100%. You know, which what America should have been telling them was that you need to go hold Hamas accountable at the International Criminal Court at the UN. If Israel would have done that, they would have won. They would have went for a ceasefire. You know, Israel would have won that, and they would have went for a ceasefire, right? And taken Hamas to the International Criminal Court and went up to the UN. They would have got that. But you know why they're not going to do that? Because it's all about creating that one world order, that new world order, that new world government, that one world government, whatever you want to call it. Right? And as it says, Lord, disappointed with the device of the crafty, he brings his own, you know, counsels upon himself. You know, roughly paraphrase, you know, he brings his own stuff upon himself. You know, because pretty much your desire, your constant desire for one world order is going to be your undoing. You know, this one world order where you have Israel, you know, pretty much standing as the governing body. You know, that's what they want. Israel to be like a lawmaker and basically be like the head honchos. But that's not going to happen. You know, Israel is going to be the rulers, but it's going to be us ruling. So this is Isaiah 19:12. Where are they? Where are they, wise men? Let them tell thee now. Let them know what the Lord of hosts hath purposed upon Egypt. Exactly. And they don't know. They can't tell them. You know? But you know who can tell you? According to scriptures, was it Amos 3:7? We can tell you. We can tell you what the Lord has purposed for this place. You're not going to believe us, but we can tell you. We say, you know, it's going to be total destruction. Total and complete destruction, man. As just say, you know, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We can go into all the scriptures in Revelation, you know, all the second Ezra 15, 16, Jeremiah 30 and 7, Jeremiah 50, 51, 49, all that. You can go in here and paint a vivid picture. I hope my audio level's okay. Alright, so we could paint a very vivid picture for you that America is going to be destroyed by ICBM nuclear missiles, like the big fire, like our forefather John the Revelator once said, right? So, verse 13, Isaiah 19:13, the princes of Zebulon are become fools, the princes of Naphtali deceived, they have seduced Egypt, even they that are the state of the tribes thereof. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. They have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Right? So they can't get the economy right. Nothing's going to go right, and partially, but really all of it's to their own undoing. You know, we could call it incompetence, like it's just stuff that they happen to do by chance or bad decisions. But in reality, the United States is making bad decisions on purpose. They're driving this country to a fall on purpose. You know, like wrestling. You know, like wrestling. If you brothers out there ever watched wrestling when you were a kid or something, or maybe you still do watch wrestling. I don't know. But if you watch wrestling, you know, all that stuff is all fake, man. The guys will take a dive. You know, they'll like fall down and stuff. You know, or like in the fight industry, you know, especially in the amateur ranks, a lot of fights are rigged, you know, so one guy can win, another guy can lose, you know, and even in professional fights, you know, a lot of the mafias, they are involved in professional fighting, and they bet, you know, so a lot of that's rigged also, you know, which they don't really tell you things like that. You're not really going to hear stuff like that out there. Stuff like that is something you want to keep secret, you know. But that goes to like Isaiah 24, you know, how everything is worse nowadays, right? Martinov concurred and cited real economies of Russia's operations. Russia already operates 6 state-of-the-art strategic missiles and submarines, and each sub is around $1 billion. And the Columbia-class U.S. Navy strategic missile submarine is about $9 billion. Basically 9 for the cost of one American strategic missile submarine. Russia has already renewed its naval strategic missile deterrent, he explained. Now, Natural News founder pointed out Secretary of State Janet Yellen boasting that President Joe Biden's administration can certainly afford military support to both Israel and Ukraine, even though multiple people now people are just getting bold with it. People all across the internet are saying, "Hey, man, this is some bullshit. We can't afford all this. You know, what about our country? What about us? You know, hell, even Zelensky." And Zelensky himself is Jewish. Even he's saying, like what the heck? What about us? You know? Because they feel like Ukraine has been forgotten, which it has been. The mainstream media hasn't talked about Ukraine, which their advance pretty much stopped. And you know, that thing is heading downhill for them, essentially. Russia's basically kind of closing in on them and starting to. I think Russia now making an offensive, and they're going attacking them. You know. I don't know everything to know about the whole Ukraine thing. I'm not going to go into every piece of Ukrainian territory and tell you, okay, this is where Avdiivka is, and this is where this is. I'm not going into all that, you know. Because, I mean, that thing is about to end anyway. I may look into it, you know, anyway, just to know it, but I haven't really paid attention to that. I just know that they're losing, you know. America, right, America can certainly afford to stand with Israel and support Israel's military needs. We go support Ukraine. We must support Ukraine in the struggle against Russia. The National Treasurer said that the United States economy is doing extremely well. She also bragged how inflation came down considerably and that the country has been the strongest labor market for 50 years with 3.8% unemployment. Right? And she says this as banks are letting out thousands of workers. Big banks are cutting out thousands of workers, not just in America, but across the world. You know, people are complaining that the deposits and things are not appearing, or that the banks are starting to not take people's deposits. So this is what she's saying as everything basically is falling apart. Right? She even disclosed the Biden's regime passed legislation that is strengthening the economy for the medium term in the coming years. Right? For all this stuff, it's not going to help. You can try to defend this place, right? Like it says in Jeremiah, you know, just take balm for a pain if so she may be healed. You could try to do whatever economic, type of thing you could try, you know, but it's not going to help. You know, you could try to, you know, create legislation and pass laws. Oh, we're gonna, you know, raise the inflation rate to try to cool, you know, the rise in inflation, try to cool off the economy, but it's not going to work. None of it's going to work, all right? Because, like I brought this up to the other day, you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave that one that I already mentioned. I'm gonna leave that one, but I'm gonna go into. I was looking for the word of the Lord will not return void. Let's look at the word void. This is the book of Isaiah 55. In 9, for as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down, and snow from heaven returneth not thither, but waters the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give to seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth out of my mouth, but shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. Alright, so the word of the Lord is not going to come back to him void. The word of the Lord is always gonna, come down. The Lord says something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Right? We shall go out. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that. The rest is talking about things of the kingdom. When it talks about joy and everlasting peace, that's the kingdom, man. So no need to get into that. Right? So we already brought that up. This weekend I connected again with Minister Netanyahu to reiterate unwavering U.S. support for Israel and to provide an update on our military support and efforts to protect civilians. It's time all countries unequivocally condemn Hamas as a terrorist organization. As I said, this is just going to lead to America's downfall. As I said before, in previous years, our foreign relations leaders were able to go around into the Middle East, talk to all these Middle Eastern nations, go visit Saudi Arabia, and then figure things out, but now they can't do that, And then even right now, Iran, which was a longtime enemy of Saudi Arabia, they're being welcomed into the country. The president of Iran was Raisi. He was able to come into Iran. Right now, they're coming to Saudi Arabia, and now they're friends. Right, Saudi Arabia is now starting to get in tight with Qatar. Right, Saudi Arabia used to actually want to invade Qatar. But that shows you how, pretty much the global South is starting to unite itself against America. The Middle East, these darker nations, they're starting to get up together, join up with Russia, and they're going to go against America, which is, as I said before, is going to lead up to World War III. We're going to read this a little bit more. We stand with Israel. America has also made it clear to Israel to work very closely with Israelis that they have a right to defend themselves. Yelling told Sky News, Wolf and Frost, right? This also shows the division, because America's allies, they're starting to turn against it. Like Ireland, I believe. A bunch of other nations have started to turn against this. Turkey, which Turkey plays both sides, as we all know. And just this Adam cited her saying, we can just print money for a two-front war. And the problem, he says, that people believe this. Yet I would argue that we can't afford even a single front war because we're broke. We can't even protect our border, much less Ukraine's, Israel's, or Taiwan's border. Exactly. You got all these different peoples coming right here into the country. Right? And it was even that whole thing where there was apparently a Chinese police department just operating right here in Manhattan. So it's wild out here. And actually, just to show you how this country is falling apart, this is Infowars.com, right? And this is real stuff, NYC's Grand Central Station shut down as hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters kick in doors and police rushed to his barricades during the night of chaotic demonstrations against Israel-Hamas war. Right? This is November 11th, 2023. So this is something that happened basically like 2 days ago. Right? A mob of masked pro-Palestinian protesters attempted to storm Grand Central Station on Friday night, kicking in the door and cracking the glass, but failing to make it to the cold station. While a person with a bullhorn chanted, "We are all Palestinians," a handful of men tried to smash down the doors. Immediately scenes ensued as the police tried to move them away from the station. Grand Central, which sees 750,000 people pass through every day, was closed on Friday night amid the chaos, and the police department warned people to avoid the area. Early on Friday, this Israeli flag was burned by the crowd at Columbus Circle, right, which isn't too far from here, right, just 2 stops away from here. It shows you just the length of the hatred, man, the length of the hatred. And you got the pro-Palestinian protesters that say, no war, as long as you stay with the war, no ceasefire, no vote. I think that's what they were saying. No ceasefire, no vote. So you pretty much got chaos happening right here in New York. The city never sleeps. Early on Friday, the Israeli flag was burned by the crowd at Hamas at Columbus Circle, with activists demanding for ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war and condemning Genocide Joe for failing to back their cause. And that's just happening. A complete collapse over here in America. Right? Diplomatic relations are collapsing. And as I mentioned before, what is going to really be the death knell for America is going to be complete diplomatic isolation, which is what it's heading for right now. Because the UN, more EU nations are going to start to go against this war, and they're going to start to not want to back this thing. And over time, America's just going to be backed into a corner. And then that's what's going to happen when you're going to have World War III and America's going to be utterly destroyed. And no one's going to be able to help it. No one's going to be able to stop it, right? Like it talks about in the 2nd Letter 16, the sword won't return back. Right? She doesn't understand the real economy, geopolitics expert said. That's the problem. The United States is the biggest exporter of inflation, right? You take those American dollars, all that IMF, join the IMF and stuff to sell your country. But the moment countries begin to kind of limit their inflation in dollars, when they start to drop the dollars, which is already happening as we speak, is coming back to the United States. Adams even cracked the joke that if you put Yellen in charge of the Pentagon or Lloyd Austin in charge of the Treasury, there would be no difference in outcome. Basically saying that none of them know what they're doing, right? None of them know what they're doing anyway. Exactly. So that was that. So we could go ahead and get this.
The posters are going like that.
Book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and we'll start at the one like we typically do. I was standing upon my watch and set me upon a tower. Watch to see what he would say unto me, what I should answer, and I will reprove. The Lord answered me, said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Right, run means to teach. Right, and write the vision, make it plain upon tables. Right, back then, to actually wrote down the scriptures, make it plain upon tables means basically to make it a breakdown of it, and make it obvious. Make it simple and easily be able to be understood. And that's what we did. We gave understanding of it. Back then, and we're doing the same thing now. The same thing. And even back in the time of the apostles, I'm talking 2,000 years ago. We didn't have scriptures didn't have numbers on it. There was no verses. So that's why when you read things in the New Testament, everyone's always saying, thus saith the scriptures, thus said the prophet Isaiah, thus saith this guy, thus saith that guy, because there was no numbers back then, So they just quoted it kind of roughly. Nowadays they have verses, chapters. There was no chapters back then. It was just one big old long scroll, The visions yet for an appointed time, but the end shall speak and not lie, meaning it should not be false. Not lie like lie down on the ground. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right? And we know all these prophecies are going to come to pass. Constantly, throughout the book of Ezra, we've been told that, there would be an ending point would come, that there would be a gathering of the nations. Let me see if that's more visible for people. Right? That there will be a gathering of, a gathering of the gathering of the elect. It talks about that, the time of threshing come. It talks about that in Second Esdras. It's pretty much the same things we're reading over and over and over again. Even Christ, his name is said, like Jesus, which is Haloshai in Hebrew, is actually found in Second Esdras. So all these things have been prophesied to go down. Right? For the soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. That's right. So his soul, meaning his spirit, is not right. The so-called white man, he just ain't right from the inside out. You see their writings and things that they put together. It's just not right. They twist and contort everything they get their hands on. Like they twisted and contorted, our scriptures. Even if you want to go back to the time of the Khazars, they weren't right. If you want to go back to the time when they were in Edom, they weren't right. They were involved in all kinds of idolatry and things like that. They worshipped some female goddess known as Quas, back then. When they were the Khazars, they weren't right. And here in America, they're just not right. In Europe, they're not right. Wherever they go, they're just not right. They just do wickedness and evil no matter where they go. The thing is, a lot of jakes that be getting adopted by them, they end up fucked up. They become like serial killers and shit like that. And they end up fucking jacked up. I wonder why, And, I was reading that book, Israel Shahak, man, Jewish history, Jewish religion, and they'll tell you, even Israel Shahak will expose his own brethren, which the United States and the West and all the other Edomite nations, they're lined up with Israel, man. They're all joining in. Now they're kind of turning, they're kind of a little iffy now, but, they in history, they've always backed them, they've always supported, the Jays in their country, and it's only now they're starting to turn back. Let's keep reading. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine is a proud man, neither keep it at home, he enlarges, he desires his hell, and his death he cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heap unto him all peoples. Right, so the wine of after fornication, which is in like Jeremiah 50 and all across Revelation, the same thing, which is the philosophies. That's also the poison that you read about in, I think it might be Psalm 58, but don't quote me on that. The one talks about the poison is as the poison of a serpent. That's just their words, their philosophies, and the way they think. Right? So now all these seek a parable against them. Yeah, so that was that. I keep reading on. Shall these take a problem against him, and the taunting problem against him, and say, woe to him that creases that which is not his, how long? And to him that leadeth himself with big clay. Right? And that's Habakkuk speaking, saying how long, because throughout history, the prophets and, the servants of the Lord, they've always asked, how long are we supposed to deal with this? How long are we supposed to be in this low condition? And a lot of people like to say, all the blacks, they have handouts, and all the Hispanics, they have handouts. But it doesn't help us. Our people are still in a low condition. They're still at the bottom of society. We're still looked at as the bottom of society. Like it says in 2 Esdras 4:24, we pass away out of this world as grasshoppers. Our lives are just nothing. So that's just the way it is. All the gangs, and all the gangs are ran by the police anyway. People get involved in the gangs, they kill each other, they shoot each other, and it just goes on and on and on. Right? So Habakkuk 2:6, shall not always take up a proverb against him, a taunting proverb, take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to the creature that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Now the word for thick clay is a badyat, or heavy debts. Alright, so that's what America's doing right now. It's laying itself up with heavy debts. I believe that the debt interest of America just went above $1 trillion. So we're paying a lot of money. A lot of money is being paid right now. That's just the amount of interest that they have, and because of this, right? Because you see, when America deals with economic issues, then it creates more of a problem because basically their international credit rating rises up. And that international credit rating basically tells you, how good a country is doing. So, well, not really rises up, but gets worse. So when that credit rating gets worse, then, they say more nations aren't going to want to do business with you, but You know, it's not like America's gonna like crumble tomorrow. You know, it's gonna take time. You know, we're waiting for Jacob's trouble and things like that. You know, like it says in the book of 2 Odysee, the Lord raises grains of balance in the world. The Lord basically has everything planned out. This happens, and this happens, and this happens, and this happens. The second address is all about that too. The Lord having an order and things set up. So we're gonna get Psalm, 55 and 21. Book of Psalm. And forgive me for looking down, man, because I got my notebook on the ground on top of the sign, so I can easily look at where I'm going here. This is the book of Psalm, chapter 55. Alright. This is the book of Psalm 55 and 20. He hath put forth his hands, such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. Right? And that's really, about our people, the wicked of our people, but it applies to Esau, Edom today, because they're doing the same exact thing. Because King David had secret enemies, like Absalom and different people that wanted King David dead, but as King David had his secret enemies in his day that wanted to take him down and uproot him and kill him, it's the same thing now. Us who, we're part of the, the house of David. The scripture says, our enemies, our secret enemies, them that are of our people as well as the other nations, they want to kill us, and they are doing it in secret and trying to basically uproot our ministry, by demonizing us, which is Psalm 64 and stuff. Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smooth and butter, but what was in his heart, his words were soft as oil, yet were they drawn swords. Now, we constantly hear, Janet Yellen and all of our, leaders constantly saying, protect Israel, protect Israel, protect Israel. However, Israel pushes for an open society in every nation wherever they go to. However, Israel itself does not go for the open nation stuff. In all their writings, all of Israel's leaders and spokespersons, Israel has never allowed itself to become an open society. They actually openly go against becoming an open society. And this isn't me saying it, it's all their leaders, Ben Gurion and all these guys. They always pushed for Israel to become a closed utopia. I remember hearing the other day, brothers were bringing out that even was from South Africa, basically when apartheid was ending in South Africa, a lot of those South Africans, those Edomites that were down there, they went down and converted to Judaism and went to Israel. I wonder why. Because it's basically become a utopia for them. It's a closed utopia. You have Ethiopians and other guys down there, which they shouldn't be down there. They treat them like garbage. They don't like them. So that was that. And also, right, with the scripture, right, I brought out in the article, Janet Yellen is basically saying, hey, this war, we can support both wars, but war is in their heart. They're saying, hey, we're going to be, this is going to be good, we can handle this, but they're not going to be able to handle it. They're lying to you, and that's what our government is doing. Your leaders that you so trust in, like it talks about in Isaiah 30 or 31, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help. You go down there and there's nothing there for you. So this is Psalm 62. So this is the book of Psalm 62 and 7. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength and refuge is in God. I'm just reading it verbatim. Alright. Trust in him at all times. You people, pour out your hearts before him. God is refuge for us. Salah, which Salah means like forever. They say it's like poetry. So we already know this as brothers that are tapped in. We know that this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're trusting in the Lord. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. As these guys are both worthless, man. Or guys that are in the highest level of societies, they're not supposed to be people you should be trusting in. You're not supposed to be trusting in people who are at the head of the society. And we could go ahead and check that out, because there was something special in the NLT version that I would like to go ahead and go get. As I said before, you know, all these psalms and stuff, a lot of them are talking about wicked of our people back then. Alright? Common people as worthless as a puff of wind. Exactly, that's the way that we're treated. And the powerful are not what they appear to be. If you weigh them on the scales, together they are lighter than a box of air. Right? So this is verse 10. Put not hope, trust not in oppression, become not being in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. Right? Don't make a living by extortion, which is what our government does, or put your hope in stealing, which is what our government does. And if your wealth increases, don't make it the center of your life, which is, you know, for us. We're not supposed to make the increase of money our life. You know, basically be all concerned with that. You know, so that's how it is, man. This is the book of Psalm 38 and 12. Yeah, the book of Psalm 38 and 12. They also, that, let me see here, my love is my friend, kind of from my sword, my kinsman stand far off. Yeah, you know, I'll go here, Psalm 38 and 11, right? My lovers and my friends stand aloof from my sword, and my kinsmen stand afar off, right? In context, talking about King David getting judged for, you know, his sins, you know, committing adultery and all that, you know. But you can also apply to Esau in the 12th verse. They also, that seek after my life, lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. Right? And as King David had, you know, people seek after his life all the day long, us in his truth, right, as a part of the house of David, elect the low one with that number, you know, hopeful members of the house of David, we're having tabernacle of David, not house of David, tabernacle of David. Oops. Right? We have people that lay snares upon our lives, right, and right, you see here, and imagine deceits all the day long. Right? That's what they do. You know, like this talks about in another precept. Okay, I don't want to put this on the ground. Hold on. Let me hold this. I can never let your Bible hit the ground. You're not supposed to do that. Let me hold it. So, see here, Psalm. This is Psalm the Fall. Yeah, this is the book of Proverbs 4 and 16. I actually didn't think about this one when I was writing my scriptures. Right? For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, except unless they cause some to fall. Right? And that's what our leaders do. You know, they can't sleep without doing wickedness. Well, you have to be constantly wicked. If you really think about it, their witchcraft and their sorceries is actually constantly supplied by wickedness, and actually really supplied by human sacrifice. Yeah, that's how it all works. That's why they constantly, you know, sacrifice our people, because they basically commune with these demons. And the demons say, hey, I'm gonna need you to kill this much children. I'm gonna need this much Israelite children. I'm gonna need this much Edomite children. And that's why you have all these children disappearing. They be sacrificing them. You know, children will go out to play and then disappear. Alright, this is the last one I'm going to get about this. It's Isaiah 47 and 10. Damn, my nose is getting all runny. Alright. Any of you brothers out there, letting you guys know that it's just about hand warmers weather. So make sure you get your hand warmers. Alright, so this is Isaiah 47 and 10. That's right. Yeah, Isaiah 47 talking about Babylon, right? Isaiah 47, 8. Therefore, hear now this, that thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly and saith in thy heart, I am none, and none else beside me. I sit as a widow. I sit not as a widow. I am, let me start again. Isaiah 47:8. Therefore hear now this, thou that are given to pleasures, that dwells carelessly, that saith in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Right, which is America, virgin daughter of Babylon. Basically, never's been invaded by a foreign country. Now Germany's been invaded and completely besieged before. I think France was at one time occupied by Germany. All these other nations, they've had other nations in their country. America went and occupied other nations. I think America occupied the Philippines for a certain amount of time. When you look into the history, and they brought film, and they basically Americanized the place. And then when they left, the Americanization obviously stuck. Which to the point, you got Filipinos that are involved in like bodybuilding and stuff like that. That shows Americanization right there when they're involved in the sports. Right? Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in a perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. Right? And that's exactly what it is, with their sorceries and their enchantments. Which they put against us. They do these attacks against us as well, trying to put witchcraft on brothers, and really on everyone, really on everyone. But like the scriptures talk about, surely no enchantment shall work against Jacob, roughly quoted. So for the elect, these witchcraft and these demonic stuff, it ain't gonna work on us, man. Because we see right clear, right? Surely we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, or his craftiness or his ways. We know about all this stuff. We know about the music. We know about all the movies and this and that and all the garbage that they push up in there. We don't fall for it. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee, and thou hast said, I said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? Like it talks about 2nd Edis, the 2nd chapter, they basically sit, in the Most High's land. They say that they are the Most High, and the temple of the Most High. They say that they're their God. And they seriously believe in that. They seriously believe in that. Not just all of them. Not just Amalek, but all of them believe that they're gods and that they are basically the heads over everything. Manifest destiny. That this is our time to run things. It's our time to control everything. So we can go back into this article, because this article is a little bit more left here. So naturalnews.com. Once again, Western economies headed for collapse if the United States and Israel push escalation of war in the Middle East. Right? Basically, as I said before, Janet Yellen is saying that America is 100% fine. I went to a bunch of scriptures showing that she's a liar. America is not gonna be A-OK forever and ever and ever. They're even talking to, like my stepfather and my mother, and they're all talking about, America's gonna be great. And I'm like, man, I don't know. They say, you need to do this and do that, and worry about this and that. I'm like, man, I'm not worried about all that. It's a failed society. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not tripping over trying to make a whole bunch of cash and things like that. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh no, America's gonna be good. And I'm like, you guys are gone, man. You don't know. But I don't tell them that. I say, oh yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna tell them that I know, but I know. Alright, so Western mainstream media's push for ethnic hatred has always been there. At one point in the show, Adams tackled how in America the war is pushed to escalate further because the mainstream media pushes ethnic hatred. That's right. They did that against, Iraqis, basically against Middle Eastern people, basically after, 9/11, people that were, practicing Islam and stuff, they would like stop them on the planes and stuff. People would get all nervous around them and shit, They come to find out that the whole 911 thing was a whole, true job, It's almost like a form of psychological terrorism against the American people, Psalm 64. He said and cited two examples. One right after the special military operation began in 2022, everyone was told to hate all Russian people. Yep, and that's what happened. It wasn't just to hate Russians in the Russian military or to hate the Russian President Vladimir Putin himself, just to hate, it was hatred directed against Russian artists, Russian race car drivers, and Russian sports figures. He said, the other example right now is the Palestinians. You're supposed to hate all Palestinians. You're supposed to say that they're all animals, they're all dirty dogs, and everything, which is incredible racism. This is what it is. It's racism. You know? The USSR born writer agreed, saying that Russophobia has always been present among the elite shackles in the West. For him, it's become normal for the U.S. media, especially many corporate journalists in the United States, to be basically stooges who share the same hatred, right? Operation Mockingbird, right? CIA, FBI, all that, intelligence agencies involved in our media organizations, and they run the show, right? The American corporate media are not only stupid and shysters, but they primarily are people with neocon inclinations, and many of them are just downright Zionists. So many of them are like U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, for example. They bear with them their hatred of Russians. It's extraordinary. Exactly. Which really, this whole thing is deeper than you think, Really, Russia, you got Kabad Lubavitch, and things like there, and they're supposedly a big backer of Putin, and things like that. So it goes deeper than what people would think. It's not all black and white, So now they talked about basically how this is only going to lead to America's destruction, right? They're only talking about the economic destruction. However, I'm going to prove in the scriptures by looking beyond and show you that it will not only lead to America's economic destruction, but total military and structural destruction. Okay, so it'll be much deeper, much more destructive than you could possibly ever understand. So, I'm talking about you people, in the world. Us that's in this truth, this is pretty obvious to us. So, this is the book of Jeremiah 49. Jordan, make a sense. Yeah, I saw here. Jeremiah 49:19. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong, but I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is the chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me, and who will appoint me the time? Who is a shepherd that will stand before me? Which the shepherd is Yahushua. Right? Oh wait. Actually, never mind. Let's look at the NLT version because it says something different. For I'll come like a lion from the thickets of Jordan, leaping on the sheep of the pasture. I will chase Edom from his land, and I will appoint the leader of my choice. Yep, that's Yahushua, as I was saying. Who is like me? Who can challenge me? What ruler can oppose my will? Exactly. No ruler, no one can oppose Yahweh's will. Right? But Yahushua is going to be the one that the Lord will appoint. Like it says in scriptures, I think it's Psalm 119 or Psalm 110. I'll sit down on my right hand so I make the enemies thy footstool. Which is, Yahushua. Stephen saw that, as he was dying. He saw, Christ sitting at the right hand of the Lord. Verse 20, therefore hear the counsel, Lord, they have taken against Edom, and their purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make the habitations desolate with them. Right? And all these nations, these Edomite nations, are all going to get it. Like we read about in Revelation, like I think it's the 8th chapter, it talks about it. The third part of man, the third part of the sea. All those things is talking about Esau, Edom. The sons of the wicked. Right? Now when you go up into that word, the least of the flock, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, but that looks like Tazayar, perhaps, I don't know. I'm going to look it up later on. insignificant, young, little, youngest, little ones. Right now, I heard Nate say that Israel is the smallest nation out of America, NATO, and the EU. Israel has around about 9 million people in its population. When you go into the EU, you have places like, I don't know, I think Cyprus is like 8 million or something. Like if you look up a list and you look at the nations that are basically around about 1% of like EU membership, there'll be like 8 million, 7 million. So I don't agree with Nate. I think Nate is wrong on that, you know. But well, Nate's wrong on a lot of things. You want me to give you a list? I'm going to give you a list of the stuff that Nate's wrong about. Okay, no more jokes. But you know, when you look at the word youngest, right? We know that Israel. If you want to really go into it, Israel started basically getting settlements around about 1917, 1918 was when they first started to kind of settle in the land. But Israel as a state, as we know it, didn't really begin until 1947, 1948. You know, with that, it was with a war. You know, and then basically them calling themselves a state caused the war. You know, you have a problem? Yeah, but you know, Israel. You have a question, you know, I can answer it.
I have no question.
You have a question, man.
No question.
You know, but you know, after Israel basically called himself a state, that's what started, you know, the whole wars, you know, in the Middle East, and that stuff has been going on now. Well, look at Israel Shahak. You ever hear Jewish history, Jewish religion?
I live in Israel, so I have actually
But you know about Israel Shahak, right?
Sure, I know all of it. I'm pretty sure you know about it.
Oh, I mean, you just read it. I mean, it's all on the internet.
The internet is always telling the truth. That's true.
No, it's not always. It's not always true. It's not always true. But I'm going off the scriptures.
That's where she.
I knew you. What? You're Jewish? Are you Jewish?
I live in Israel.
You live in Israel? Then go back. All right, good. You know, that's what you're gonna get with people coming out here. You know, she's basically scoffing. But everything I was saying is facts. You know, 1947, 1948, when Israel started calling itself a state, that's the beginning of everything you see here. And now Israel and all the nations that they go to, they say that, oh, hey, you know, we need to have this society be an open society. You need to be open and have religious freedom for everyone. But what they really mean is freedom for them. You know, and then in their country, they basically set their country to be a closed utopia for them. And that's what all the wars in the Middle East has been about. Because basically the West, they implanted Israel in there basically to be a police state, basically to police over the entire of the Middle East, you know, which they have failed in that regard, you know. Now with certain things they've done an alright job, you know, according to them. They actually funded Hamas, you know, and they run it, you know, which is true. They actually funded the Palestinians and they keep them alive, you know. However, in terms of policing it, so to speak, and keeping peace, they're not doing that. You know, and they're not doing that on purpose because they're drawing everyone together for World War III. It's all Israel's doing. You know, they're doing this on purpose. This really goes back to the Rothschild family. You know, all that lady had to do, she just wanted to stare. We had no arguments at all. You know, Revelation 16 and 14. Right, arguing with someone like that is a waste of time because I could go into Ezekiel 36, you know, and all these other scriptures, and I could go prove. You know, she would say, "Oh, I live in Israel." Okay, it's true. You know, look at Ben Gurion. As I said, Ben Gurion is saying the same things that I've said. You know, your leaders will say the exact same thing. You know, Israel only looks out for itself. This is the book of Revelation 16 and 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth into the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them together for that great day of the Most High Almighty. Right? And that's the three unclean spirits, which we know is the Roman Catholic Church, the military center, which is the Pentagon, and the financial center, which is, you know, basically London, you know, in London. You know? And all of these three, you know, entities work together to exert control over the entire world, you know? So, yeah, so we can start going beyond, looking further beyond into the future. This is the book of Mark. This is the book of Mark 13 and 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Right? So, looking further, this is where we are right now. This is the present. We're in the beginning of sorrows. You see, the scriptures, you know, they give you the past, the present, and the future. Right now, according to this scripture, this is our present, and we're looking on to the future, you know, and everything that we read, you know, in the scriptures, you know, certain things were in their present, right? Certain things talk about the past, and then it goes into, you know, the future, you know, and back then, their present was their present, and their future is our present. So that's just the way it is. It's prophecy. You know, prophecy means to say before, you know, pro before, facade to speak. You know? This is Revelation 11 and 14. Right? Let's get to the point. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Right? And where's that third woe? The third woe is World War III. Right? The first two destructions happened, World War I and World War II. World War I was basically used to get Germany from off its industrial throne, essentially. Germany had, basically was an industrial superpower. They could sell whatever they want at very low prices. No one could compete with them. They had to destroy them, right? Basically, the same Amalekites that were in our country that are very powerful, the Amalekites in Germany were way more important. They owned railroads and factories, you know, and they were extremely powerful, you know, over there in Germany. Germany was a haven for them. Germany let them in, you know, when you go into the history of the German monarchs, you know, which really this is after we were taken down, right? So we can go on down. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 6. And 1, and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals that I heard as with the noise of thunders, and one of the four beasts, which the angel was saying, come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse he had set upon him had a bow, and the crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Right? And that white horse represents power, which is that chariot or that mountain that was graved upon, where basically Ezra couldn't see where it was coming from. That second Ezra, the 6th chapter, you know, which is all in prophecy. It's all the same things happening over and over and over again, right? Second Ezra. I might skip that one. Alright. Back to Jeremiah, this book of Jeremiah 49. Yeah. Jeremiah 47. Jeremiah 49 and 17, right? And Edom shall be, Exodus start here, 16. Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, and holdest the height of the hills. Though thou makest thy net as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from them, saith the Lord. Right? And I was back then, you know, they were dwelling in caves, doing stuff like that, rock forces. You know, I believe when you also go into like the mountains and stuff, it goes back to also how you like to live high up, like to live in skyscrapers and things like that. I think this is the same thing in Malachi, right? Though that makes thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring you down from thence, saith the Lord. Right? So though they try to go up into space, not saying that eagles can go up into space, but though I make your habitation very high up, the Lord is going to bring you down. Oh, I think I know what this is talking about. I think I might have misspoken. I think that's, I think he's really talking about the caves and stuff that they'll be in, you know, when World War III happens. You know, the bunkers and stuff like that. Basically, what they try to hide during World War III. You know, which, you know, they are going to get away if they're not here in America. They are going to get away, but we're going to go grab them afterwards. So I think I'll just leave that for now. You know. Verse 17, Edom shall be a desolation, and everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss the plagues thereof. Right? NLT, Edom will be an object of horror. All who pass by will be appalled, and will gasp the destruction they see there. And that's what it is. You know, that's what's going to happen. Edom, really referring to, you know, America, that should be the big destruction. But when Esau's put in that low position, you know, and they get all jacked up, everyone's going to laugh at them, and they're going to have a taunting proverb and a parable against them. Other nations are going to make fun of them. You know, and that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the relations between Edom and these other nations starting to disappear and starting to go away. You know, and you really think about it too. It's kind of funny how Ishmael and Edom are about to start going at it, because when you look at it in history with the Nabateans, Ishmaelites actually conquered. Arabs actually conquered the nation Edom, you know, with Nabatea. You know, they basically conquered the entire land. Oh, you got a reason to record me? Fucking joke, dickhead. Alright, so as we were talking about, Nabatea was actually, you know, conquered in relation to Edom. You know, and he had him in bondage and he controlled him. You know, and that's basically what happened was Herod, I think they say Herod married one of the princesses of Nabatea, or was his father? I think it may have been his father. Antipater who married the daughters of Nabatea, right? And that's why they say, you know, we say, you know, he was darker. He had to have a darker complexion. He probably looked, you know, more like a light-skinned Jake, you know, like these Jakes that are, you know, so-called biracial. Got like a white dad or something. But because the Nabateans, they were still dark back then. Ishmael was still dark back then. This is before the Turkish came and ran them out and was running them through. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna leave that out. That was pretty much that. I'm gonna say, another double honest theology of the apostles of GMS Great Millstone. And I'm just gonna close it out. Shalom.